Hello, this is Fancy Ray, the best looking man in comedy. I'm here today with Gloria Steinem. Gloria, to kick off the show, I thought we'd try something a little unique. I want to do a little word play with you. I'll say a word and you tell me the first thing that comes to your mind.
You ready for this?
I'm ready for it.
Sure you want to hear the first thing that comes into my mind?
I think so. Let's try it.
Okay.
Black.
Beautiful.
Ooh, dog.
Cat.
Feminism.
A good thing.
Equality.
A really good thing.
Beauty.
Fancy Ray.
Ooh, she knows what's going on. We're going to talk about all these issues and much more. Don't go nowhere. I'm Fancy Ray. This is Gloria Steinem. And on tonight's show, we're going to get down with it. Oh, my. Hello, my name is Fancy Ray McCoy. I am the best looking man in comedy. Talk show host, I dime a dozen. The only exception is me, because I've got the grooves and moves and looks and this incredibly charming personality. Now, when I first saw Sally Jesse Raphael, my eyes, they started to sag. I said the networks are trying to fool us. That ain't nothing but Donahue dressed in drag. Now, some people think Oprah Winfrey is the best. They think Oprah wears the crown. Well, she may be the heavyweight champ, honey. I'm the best under 200 pounds. Stay tuned. I'm Fancy Ray, and it's time to get down with it. I said to get down. Hello, this is Fancy Ray McClung, the best looking man in comedy. I'm here today with my special guest. She has been a leader in the fight for feminism for over a quarter of a century. She's the founder of Miss Magazine. It's my pleasure to introduce Miss Gloria Steinem.
It's nice to meet you. Thank you for this great show here. I mean, this is a whole new event.
Oh, no, the pleasure's all ours to have you here in the Twin Cities.
Thank you.
How is the book tour? That's a very grueling thing, I would think.
It is very grueling, but part of it is also terrific, which is meeting with people. Just, it's like sending out a signal, a kind of big populist signal, and anybody who wants to come comes to the bookstores or wherever we're having the signings. And I love that. It turns into an organizing meeting. I get to learn a lot because the audiences are incredibly smart.
So what have you learned? Tell us what Gloria Steinem has learned in her stay here in the Twin Cities.
Well, I come here a lot, and I really have a lot of respect for the degree of involvement here. Citizens really seem to be involved in making social policy, and it seems like you have the best and worst of everything here. You have the ultra-right-wing leadership, and you have the most enlightened leadership. You have a little of both.
Right.
But I think there are a lot of social policies here that people could benefit from learning about in the rest of the country. I mean, you've got more understanding, say, of domestic violence. I noticed that from the questions that have been coming in, to stations and so on about the O.J. Simpson case. You've got, it feels like you've got better programs for senior citizens, these senior high-rises and so on, where people can live. And just a general sense that if you work at it together, you can change whatever the social policy is.
Right. And we're leading the country in that aspect. And to talk about all the different things, let's start talking about what is feminism?
Feminism is just what it says in the dictionary, which means the belief, I would say the fact, but anyway, the belief that women and men are full social, economic, political equals.
How'd you get involved with the fight of feminism?
I got born a female. But actually, I shouldn't say it that easily because it took me a long time to realize that the position of women wasn't due to nature, or God or biology or somebody. And it wasn't until I was in my middle 30s when the movement really came along as women came out of from the civil rights movement and the anti-war movement, realizing that if even in those very idealistic and good movements, there still wasn't male-female equality, we probably also needed an autonomous women's movement.
Is that a reality? Is that something? I mean, at one time there's such an awareness for feminism. There was a lot of fight and pushing going on. Has feminism become passé?
Oh, not at all. It's become much bigger, deeper, wider. I think the reason it seemed like you heard about it before was that it was a kind of novelty. So there would be like 6 or 12 crazy people in each town that the press would cover from time to time. But now it's part of everything. It's part of the discussion of welfare. It's part of any discussion of unemployment. It's part of discussions of how we raise our kids, of what goes on in schools. And so it's no longer just one strange thing. It's really become more part of the fabric of our lives.
But it hasn't, like, the issue of AIDS and the poverty and stuff that's going on around the world, Isn't that lesson? Everyone's like after money nowadays, as opposed to really being aware of these social changes that need to take place in our society.
Well, but all of those things must be looked at as if women mattered as much as men.
Right.
Because, for instance, in New York at least, I don't know about here, but women are the fastest growing AIDS population because it wasn't perceived that, what women's problems were, that they really didn't necessarily have the power to insist that their male partners use condoms, for instance, or that they were not knowledgeable about the lives of their partners. Not to mention all the problems that come from less good medical treatment, having to take care of kids and so on, even while they're sick. I mean, there are all kinds of tragedies now that are especially tragic because the women who have AIDS have the major responsibility for children. So whatever the problem is, we just need to look at it as if everybody mattered, not just as if a few people mattered.
Right. What was the Equal Rights Amendment?
Well, the Equal Rights Amendment was this strange idea that women should be included in the Constitution as much as anybody else, So it would have made sex as unconstitutional a basis for discrimination as national origin, religion, and race now are. I'm sure that eventually we will have it.
You still think so?
Well, yes, I think the Constitution should eventually include me. Right? Yeah, no, I think so. But it was a great loss because we were within only 3 states of getting it ratified. The problem is that the state legislatures in many states really don't represent the people. The 14th Amendment and the anti-slavery amendments were only ratified by some states in the 60s. Right. So some of these states are really far behind. We're talking major league far behind.
Right.
And they're also controlled by insurance industries and others who have an economic stake in not equalizing their actuarial tables or whatever it is. Okay. But we'll get it eventually.
No doubt about that. I'll tell you what, coming up next, we're going to talk about the book Moving Beyond Words, your new book here that we're promoting. And also, we're going to talk about the whole OJ, the abuse, all kinds of good stuff. Don't go nowhere. We got Gloria Steinem. I'm Fancy Ray. Stay tuned and get down with it. Oh.
Here's the story of a single mother, works her butt off even when she's sick, has a job just to pay for daycare, the youngest one on WIC. Here's the story of a man named Dan Quayle, playing golf at his white male-only course. Says Murphy Brown caused the LA riots, made family values worse. Till the one day when this mother met this fellow in a room with a judge, it's called a court. Cause this man, who's the father of her children, owes back child support, No family values, that's the way we all lost our family values.
All right. Mr. Quayle, welcome to reality.
Twin Cities, welcome to Get Down With It.
Ow, this is Fancy Ray live at Dreamgirls, where your fantasy begins. I'm here with
Kim
and
Bridget.
Ooh, and Bridget's feeding me cherries. Now, I've got 2 lovely ladies. I'm in Dreamgirls, but I'm still missing something. Ooh, you know what I like. Stay tuned. It's time to get down with it. Ow, my. Ow.
Oh, yes, my.
Fancy.
Yes.
Why do you have those shades on?
Oh, because you know who's coming on next? Next, we've got the lovely Leibowitz sister.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And you know what, T? There's 3 of them.
Oh, yeah.
You know what that means? That means 1 for me. And another one for me. And the 3rd one for me.
I don't think that's very funny.
Oh, wait a minute. It is the holiday season. I'll share. You get what's left.
I'll fix you.
No, don't play that song. Don't play that song. Man, you know what happens when I hear that song. Coming up next, the lovely Leibowitz sisters. Ow!
Leibowitz, Leibowitz, Leibowitz.
Now welcome back to the International Talent Search Competition and the moment you've been waiting for, the International Vocal Group winners. Ladies and gentlemen from Minnesota, the lovely Leibowitz sisters. You girls are the lovely Leibowitz sisters.
Yes, we are. How much is it y'all pay?
Oh, yeah,
Ladies
and gentlemen, now it's time to hear a beautiful musical number from your talent search winners.
Wait a minute.
Who are you? What are you doing here? Who are you?
We're the lovely Leibowitz.
No, we're the Leibowitz. Wait a minute.
We'll settle this by having the first annual Leibowitz sing-off.
Yeah.
The lovely Leibowitz sisters.
Oh, say can you see?
Show 'em, Levon. Show 'em, girl.
The dawn's early light.
We're the real Leibowitz.
sisters.
So stay tuned
and get down with it.
Hi, this is Gil Scott Heron. Whenever I'm in the Twin Cities, I watch Get Down With It with Fancy Ray. I think you should watch. You'll get a lot out of it.
All right, this is Fancy Ray back live on location at the Radisson, downtown Minneapolis, with the beautiful Gloria Steinem. How you doing, Gloria?
Good.
Oh, my. Now we're talking about the different issues of feminism. What do feminists think of pornography?
Well, pornography, the very word means writing about female slaves. Porne means female slave. So it's very different from erotica because that is eros, love, has some idea of equal choice and mutual pleasure. So the two, it's like saying what's the difference between sex and rape?
Right.
You know,
Okay.
that's really the difference between pornography and erotica.
You had a relationship with Playboy, though. You did some things with them.
I did. I worked as a bunny for, I don't know, a month or so, a long time ago, in order to expose the working conditions, which are lousy.
Okay. But when you turned 50, didn't you put another outfit on and pose again with him?
Oh, no.
No. Where did I hear that from? No.
No. Definitely not.
Okay, no. So you are anti-porn then, feminism?
Yeah.
There are some feminisms that are saying that it's okay.
Well, I think the point is, first of all, what are we talking about when we talk about pornography? But also that nobody is talking about censorship. The most that has ever been proposed was here in the Minnesota Ordinance, which would have said that after something has already been published, if it can be demonstrated to the satisfaction of a jury that it contributed to a crime or inhibited somebody's civil rights or whatever, which is a crime, then civil damages could be posed.
Right.
But it was never about prior restraint. It's
Okay.
not about censorship.
Okay. Do you think an image of someone like a Madonna, you think that's good for women? Or
Well, I think that she took the images or symbols of Marilyn Monroe that had been victim symbols and took control of them and used them in a more powerful way. I don't think it's the goal, but I think it was a step forward, because she clearly is in control of her own life.
Right. Right. In fact, you mentioned Marilyn. You wrote a book to text the Marilyn Monroe book. You met Marilyn.
I met her once when I was in college, and she was at the Actors Studio. She sure made me, like everyone else, want to take care of her. She was so vulnerable and so sad.
Sad story. Talking about someone at the photo opposite as Jim Brown. Jim Brown, in his book, said that he knew you guys dated or something like that.
Yeah, I wrote a story about him that you'd go back and find in New York Magazine.
Okay.
And we went out a few times after that, yeah.
Good person.
Well, you
See, I don't think of Gloria Steinem and Jim Brown together. It doesn't seem like.
well, we're friends,
Okay.
and he treated me fine, and I treated him fine, but I got worried about the way he treated other women.
Okay. Okay. Well, tell us about the new book. The new book is called Moving Beyond Words.
Yes, and it's really 6 books in one,
Mm-hmm.
sort of an odd format, but it just happened that way. So it's 6 books for the price of one. Look at it that way.
Okay.
And there's everything in there, from a very outrageous piece called "What If Freud Were Phyllis," which is doing a sex change operation on Sigmund Freud and trying to show the ways in which his theory is crazy, which you can especially show if you reverse it. You know, if you say, well, of course, anatomy is destiny, men are incurably narcissistic and fragile because they have their genitals on the outside, and stuff, you know, I mean,
Right.
I just reversed everything so you could see how crazy it was. To another piece about the strongest woman in the world, this fabulous woman named Bev Francis, who's stronger than Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I think really shows us that we haven't even begun to explore women's strength and muscles and so on, because unfortunately fat cultures, rich cultures value skinny women and poor cultures value fat women, but all male dominant cultures value weakness in women, and she's, really giving us a way out of that. There are pieces about all big things in our lives: aging, the economy, the class system, trying to walk around them and look at them as if women mattered, so that we can really take them on in our own lives in a creative way.
And now you're approaching 60 now?
No, I had my 60th birthday. March 25th, right.
Well, now you're looking at life now as coming into your mature years. Are you going to start voicing opinions and articles about a woman that's in her 60s in the 1990s?
Yeah, I think so, because there's a whole part of life that nobody prepared me for. At least everybody told me it was sort of a decline or it was downhill, and it's not. It's very interesting. It's quite exciting because, for one thing, what happens especially to women is that you sort of become yourself, because the female role is over, so you don't have to be a female impersonator anymore, which women are, and you can go back to that 8, 9, 10-year-old, strong little girl you used to be. Only now you can reach the light switch and you have your own apartment, and it's infinitely interesting. And I wasn't prepared for that, so I would like younger readers to know what I didn't know, which is there is this whole interesting time of life, and you don't have to worry so much about earlier years or settling down. We never settle down, it turns out. Never.
Oh, man, that's fabulous. And what are you doing now? What are you doing now?
Well, I'm still very involved with Ms. Magazine, the Ms. Foundation for Women, which is, I'm very proud of, and does, lots of, it's the only national multi-racial, multi-issue women's fund, and we do lots of things, like Take Our Daughters to Work was sort of the tip of the iceberg of a lot of programs we have for girls. An economic empowerment program that helps low and no-income women to create their own businesses cooperatively. So I do that. I, go dancing, see my friends, write, hopefully, travel quite a lot. Listen, there's more than enough for the next 100 years.
All right. Well, we're going to keep looking forward and keep reading and watching you. The name of the new book is Moving Beyond Words. It's Gloria Steinem. It's available on Simon & Schuster. And we thank you very much for your time. And check it on out. Any last words?
Well, I just want to say something that I say in the book, but in case you don't get the book, that I think that the whole country ought to be very grateful for this paradigm of coming out that the gay and lesbian movement has given to everyone, because it is the most powerful paradigm of coming out as your true self, whoever that is. And, in the book I'm talking about that, about people who lie about their ages, which is like passing used to be, or whatever it is, the ways in which we're made to feel unacceptable. It's inspirational, that paradigm. And I think we all need to realize what a gift it is.
All right, that's fabulous. Moving Beyond Words, Gloria Steinem. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, stay tuned and get down with it. Oh, my.
Hi, this is Dana Gould, and when I'm in the Twin Cities, I watch The Fancy Ray Show, and I watch it in the nude. You do too.
Woo! My soul, how you doing? It's Little Richard now, baby. Wop, bop, loop, bop, lot, bam, boom. I tell you,
Bo knows this and Bo knows that, but Little Richard knows finance. I'm a CPA, not an accountant, but the certified public architect of rock and roll. Woo, I'm the originator and the creator, and to this day, there's been no one greater. Please, I'm here to talk about Texas. April 15th and gone by, honey, and I gotta tell you about Texas. I'm getting letters from all over the country, sugar. Let me tell you about my tax thing. Little Richard, should I pay taxes on unearned income? Now let me tell you something, honey. I didn't give no money for Tutti Frutti, long, tall, salad, good guy, Miss Molly, rip it up and tell it. The girl can't help it, she got it. Ow, ooh, my soul. No, don't pay no taxes on unearned income. Shut up. Now, the next person writes me from Detroit, and she says, are diamonds a good investment? Well, let me tell you what Marilyn told me. Marilyn said, Richard, diamonds are a girl's best friend, but you last forever. Ooh, honey, I last and last and last. Oh, but that was a long time ago. Please. Someone asked me, dear Richard, what do you think about business partnerships? Well, let me tell you, Otis Redding started with me, James Brown was my vocalist, Mick Jagger started with me, the Beatles came in, they wanted to just touch my hand, honey. Ooh, Paul McCartney grabbed my finger, and he wanted to learn my little holler. You know how I say, woo, Paul said, woo. I said, woo, he said, woo, 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 woo. Next time I saw him, he said, woo. I said, baby, you got it. Please, shut up now. And someone writes a letter in from Minneapolis and says, Richard, what do you think of the stock market? Well, I say, what goes up must come down. And I like to be in the middle going round and round. Please, ooh, my soul, shut up now. And someone writes me a letter and says, dear Richard, are bonds a good investment this time of year? Now, let me tell you something about bonds. Bonds is a solid investment. I like my assets liquid, so I can just pull out anytime I'm ready. Ooh, my soul. Who is it?
Oh, the IRS.
IRS? What do you want?
We love you, Mr. Richard, but we heard you've been giving out tax advice. Do you happen to have a license?
Who?
IRS.
All right, before we go any further, I want to take this opportunity to thank my fantastic sponsors. I want to thank Insight Newspaper, where you can find my cable cast schedule, Hair by Jamae, which styles my hairdo, and also Straight Stuff, great stuff for those fancy raid t-shirts. And I want to thank all you wonderful people for tuning in, Walt for the camera work, Chris and Greg for the great editing. My name is Fancy Ray, and I am the best looking man in comedy. Make sure you tune in next week to the Fancy Ray Show, because if I'm there, ooh, we're gonna get down with it. All right, this is Fancy Ray, the best looking man in comedy. I'm back live on location here at the Radisson in downtown Minneapolis with Miss Gloria Steinem. How you doing, Gloria?
Fine, how are you?
Oh, I'm just feeling as beautiful as I look.
That's great. I'll have to remember to try to say that. You know?
Yeah,
That's
the
great.
positive energy, that's what it's all about, the positive energy. You know, something that the O.J. Simpson case has brought to the forefront is the abuse and violence against women. Any thoughts on that subject?
Mm-hmm. Well, the only positive thing that I can imagine coming from this tragedy is that the country may get educated on how common the sexual abuse of women is. I mean, more women were battered last year than had children last year.
Wow.
And this case is unusual only because it's typical. Do you know what I mean? I mean, if he weren't famous, it would be basically the typical case. He had the violence had escalated. I mean, there was 8 occasions, I think, on which the police had been called to the house. She said that he was going to kill her. She told many people that, and yet it wasn't taken seriously enough for him to be actually jailed and actually get treatment. Also, his letter to the press was typical, because it didn't have anything in it about her. It was all about him. It was all about feel sorry for me. He even referred to himself as battered.